That's awesome. Thank
We
you.
love the franchises. Yeah,
Awesome.
we just love you guys.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren. What do you want to talk about?
Well, it's probably too cliche, but maybe you've already said you're not going to say anything about it, but we just always want to know what's going on with Borderlands 3. How is it?
These are great. These are
And
great questions. Yeah.
second part of my question is there any possibility of any of the Borderlands franchise coming to the Switch? I don't know how that
Oh
works
yeah.
in terms
Okay.
of their licensing and all that.
All right. Well, on the first thing, there's a saying that they have in publishing. The suits tell me all the time, it doesn't exist until it's announced. And there has so look, it's no secret we're working on more Borderlands stuff. We've got a whole lot of people working on a lot of great things in the Borderlands franchise. We haven't announced any new titles yet for it. But there's actually a lot of stuff going on, and I really can't wait till that moment. But that moment isn't here yet, and as soon as that moment is here, I'm going to just be gushing because I mean, but it makes a lot of sense, right? There's a lot of one thing we're learning about this industry as it develops, as it progresses, and not just this industry, but the world in general, and particularly when it comes to entertainment and media, the things move very fast now. So we don't. It's actually negative to kind of build the hype too early and to make a promise too early. Right now, we live in a world where once it's time to say, "Hey, here's a thing," you kind of want it then, right? Like if somebody tells me like, "Hey, here's this movie you're going to want to go see. It's freaking awesome." And you're like, "What? I got to wait a year?" You know, it's like, or like, "Hey, this band that you love is making a new CD or new album." CD, like I'm such a dinosaur. This band that you love is making a new album, like, but it's not going to come out for a year. No, it's like you tell me like the band's got an album and I can download it today. Like that's kind of where we're going in the world. So there's less and less lead time between when we actually make the big open public reveal for something we've worked on and when it actually launches. In the video game industry, there'll still be some lead time, but it's not going to be like, you know, a year or 2 years like it has been in the past. I think when we announced the original Borderlands, from when we announced it to when we shipped the game was about 2 years.
That I wasn't here at the time, but as a fan watching it, that sounds right.
It was about 2 years. That's a long time in today's world. We're not going to do that with the future stuff that we've got in development. There's another very important reason why we shouldn't do that is because things in development it's like art. It's in motion. It's constantly changing, and we're adapting to our own discoveries. And it's really important now more than ever that when we make a promise that we meet or exceed the expectations set by that promise. So we need to. I want to be at a point where we're basically done before we even tell people what we have. And it's just, you know, it's just I know it's like a tease because like, but here's the thing, like, I mean, you played Borderlands 2. You know how big of a game that was and how many people had to come together to make that happen. The things that we're doing moving forward are even more complex and even larger.
Wow.
So it's best for us to kind of get all our ducks in a row before we make promises.
I think it's very cool.
I mean,
to
I
see
think as long as
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think as long as the franchise is still going to like exist, I think if fans know that, we have a sense of peace about it, even if it's not going to be like immediately. We just want to know that there's more coming because we love the game.
Look, Borderlands is like $1 billion business, so it's really it's. I mean, not for me, for the suits, like our publishing company, Take-Two Interactive and 2K. Like this is a really important business for them. They're not. I mean, when something gets to that scope, it's you can count on there being
good.
There being support for it, and there being backing for it. So it's. I don't think we're doing everything we can to not merely not disappoint fans, but actually try to make sure that when we bring more Borderlands content, that it's the kind of content that Borderlands fans love. And it's really, I think, and you had another thought with that. The second thought. What can you remind me what it was again?
Oh, the Switch. Whether there's any possibility of the Switch.
Yeah, I love my Switch. Do you have a Switch, Erica?
I don't have one yet.
Yeah,
Do you guys have one, Laura?
Should I have not admitted that?
It's
you got to get one.
The Switch. It's a really great system. It's like this is what I said even before it came out. Like
right.
when Nintendo first briefed us on it, I thought finally, like, because for most of my adult life, Nintendo has sort of had a split focus between the creative game makers at Nintendo that were focused on their handheld platform, which originated with the Game Boy, and then later we got Game Boy Advance and Game Boy DS and all these other iterations of this handheld thing, and then you have the creative game makers that are focused on their television console, and it divided the attention of the creatives that were making making the content. And with Nintendo, their strength is the content. I mean, their hardware is pretty good, but it's really about their brands and their content. Like, just they're really great game makers.